All right, so this one says rewrite the following equation in the form A times the quantity x minus h squared plus k to determine the x coordinate of the minimum. Well, it just so happens that you can actually find the x coordinate of the minimum by using a formula very similar to the formula we use in completing the square, right? So we know that negative b over 2 times a, that gives us our x coordinate, the minimum or maximum, depending on what it is that you have. So in this particular case, and I got to think about how do I want to do this. So before I do it though, do you notice that everything is divisible by 2? Because they're all even numbers, right? So I'm going to set this thing equal to 0, and I'm going to divide everything by 2. So in other words, I get 0 is equal to x squared minus 16x plus 28. Okay. And then if that's the case, then I know for a fact that the x coordinate where this thing crosses is going to be negative 16, right? Because the formula has a negative in it. This becomes a positive 16 all over 2 times 1. Okay. So that just means that this will occur at x equals 8, right? This is the x coordinate. So that means I'm going to put an 8 in here. Now to find the corresponding y, I could just graph this. I could reevaluate this in the equation if I want to. It really doesn't matter. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to graph the original equation. So I'm going to pull up my handy dandy calculator. And then I'm going to show the big screen so you guys can see it a little bit. And I'm going to graph it. So let me turn on my calculator, hit equals, clear this out. So I'm going to plug in the original equation, which is x squared, 2x squared, minus 32 x plus 56. Okay. So now when I hit graph, and I don't know, I'll probably have to adjust. Yeah, I got to adjust the things. Yeah, I definitely have to adjust the things. So minus 32x plus 26. So that means that it's going to cross way up here and then it's at 8. So I'm going to change my window from, I'm going to go from 56 is pretty high. So I'm going to go from 0 to 20 on the x direction. And my y minimum doesn't need to be that high. Actually, it needs to be lower, actually, now that I think about it. So I'm going to say negative 80. And then to 100, I think, because, no, I'll do 60 because I know it's going to cross at 56. So now I'm going to hit graph. And what's interesting is I'm just going to use the thing to find the minimum. So I'm going to hit second calc. I'm going to use the calculator to find that for me. I can plug it in and find it too. But the minimum, I got to go a little bit to the left of where I think the vertex is. Okay. Just a little bit, not a lot. And then a little bit to the right of where I think the vertex is. And then I'm going to go right in the middle. I'm going to try and get as close to 8 as I can. Hit enter. And that looks like it. Now it's an approximation because that's all my calculator knows how to do. But I know algebraically that this is going to be 8 equals negative 72. So the vertex is the HK. So my right here This spot right here occurs at 8, comma, negative 72. Okay? Because this is really 8. So then my vertex is 8, negative 72. And then this value is 8. We figured that out. So now I just got to figure out what A is. Well, to find A, I'm just going to take this equation and evaluate a point on it. All right? So in theory, I know that 56 is it's the y-intercept, and that means the y-intercept occurs when x equals 0. So if I plug in x equals 0, it crosses at 56. So I could take this equation, y equals a times the quantity x minus 8 squared plus, well, actually I'm just going to say minus 72, minus 72, and then I'm going to plug in the point 56 for y, and then 0 for x, and then solve for a. So this ought to be fun. So first thing I'm going to do, 0 minus 8 is negative 8. Negative 8 squared is 64. So we've got 64a minus 72 is equal to 56. So then I'm going to add 72 to both sides. And then I get 8, and then 128 is equal to 64. Oh, cool, I see. So then I'm going to divide both sides by 64. How many times does 64 roll into 128? Anybody know? 2. So I get 2 is equal to A. So what's that mean? That means up here, I just put 2. And that's it. We are done.